issue. He knew that if I was down, then Stevie would be down. So Keith went out, bought the bracelet, brought it back to me, gave it to me. Christmas morning, I gave it to Margaret, and I don't know how long she might still have it. I don't know, but Keith Shanks, shout out tonight to you, my friend. Um, you probably remember it doing that yourself, but probably think that maybe I've forgotten it. 36 years later, mate, I have not forgotten it, and I promise you, I will make it up to you in some way, um, very soon. Because these things, I'm sort of putting myself out there and making promises to people, and revealing things, and I can't do that, and then sort of sit back and go, well, there you go, there's a revelation, just deal with it. So I don't know, it could be just me inviting you to dinner, and us sitting down having a couple of beers, and me buying you a steak in the Morningstar restaurant or something, and having a wee yarn about old times. But I'm going to do it, okay? So the Keith Shanks, and what in actual fact really was a wee Christmas miracle. You think about it. Now, I can see that the time's travelling on here, and I have more things to say, uh, but I don't want to overextend things, because I don't know whether people get fed up, listening to me, rambling on about about things that happened in the past, or my own opinion on things or whatever. But I just say whatever comes, as you can see, I just say whatever comes into my head, and sometimes it fixes things. Sometimes it, even I'm surprised, because I wasn't expecting to be talking about Keith, Stevie's brother, tonight, and it's happened, and that whole little circumstance, which was a big circumstance with regards to a beautiful gesture. That'll happen, from time to time. I will finish on this though, because I was thinking about Ballycastle, because obviously I was talking about Spuds earlier on, and that it's up in Port Stewart, but on we had a manager at the time called Morris Duncan, and he brilliant big guy. I went to school with Morris, but then he disappeared for a while, and then he came back onto the scene. And Big Morris, had all these contacts in the music business, sort of thing, and local, local promoters and stuff. Now, at this time, I was like in a sort of a transition period between bands, so I was doing this like acoustic thing with Joe Brush, and me and Joe would have played in Antrim in the upper deck and different Rosetta, Vigos, whatever. But he played the acoustic and I sang, and that was the band. Back then that was something different. It really was. Because these days it's completely and utterly the thing that's done. But back then, no. It was strange to see a singer who was always out front in a rock band, or a guitarist like Joe. So we did these gigs, and then Morris said, the two of you are brilliant, but what I want you to do is I want you to go to Ballycastle and take part in the Lammas Fair. And I'm going, what does that entail, Morris? And he said, well, you go and you basically get a part of the street allocated to you, and you sing in that, on the street. And I'm going, fucking hell, what? You're like busking? And he went, no, it's not like busking. It's not busking at all. It's entertainers, using the Lammas Fair, which thousands of people go to. as a sort of a showcase for their talent, And he says bands can't normally do it, because they're electric guitars and whatever. You can't set up a band, but if you play an acoustic guitar and you sing, then it's perfect. So I talked to Joe about it, and he said, "Yeah, let's do it." And I said to Morris, "What's the terms and conditions?" And he said, "Well, you go along to your wee spot on the main street at the Lammas Fair, sing, but I've organised, you know, even if that doesn't amount to anything, I've organised it for you and Joe to sing in, in a hotel that night and the next night, and they're going to give you your accommodation and pay you some money. If you do, what you're doing on the street in the hotel." So me and Joe were going, well then, obviously, no brainer. So I'll go along and we'll stand in the street for a while and sing. Obviously people throw money into your hat or whatever, but even if that came to nothing, we've got two gigs on the Friday and the Saturday night. And he went, yeah, that's the way it is. And I went, that's brilliant, Morris, thanks very much, for that opportunity. And he said, I'll give you a call on Sunday whenever you are checking out of the hotel just to make sure that everything's okay. So now, this is the reason why this should probably be a whole a whole vlog on itself. But to cut the story short, I was rehearsing with Joe on the Thursday. Margaret came along to collect me from Joe's house on the Thursday evening with our new Honda Civic Shuttle car. Cost thousands. It was a beautiful car, and this is what we're going to be going to Ballycastle in the next day. Said goodbye to Joe, went back home, arranged on the phone that, and Joe and all the rest. He had like a sort of a few going down with him at the Ballycastle. So I said to Margaret, I don't want to go to Ballycastle by myself. Will you go with me? And she said, where will I sleep? And I went, we'll organise a room when we get down there, and then Joe can do the same thing. And so we're driving down to the Ballycastle, and we hadn't even reached, we hadn't reached Ballycastle. We were driving up a country road towards Ballycastle, and all of a sudden this car came out of a country road beside us into us and crashed. Margaret kept control of the car and veered off the road, but bumped, obviously eventually came to as but seatbelts on, and I looked back and the car that had hit us was on its back, on its roof, spinning round and round and round. And I looked up at the other end of the road, and there were policemen running up the road with their weapons, out and stuff. And then I thought, well, it's okay. I mean, that's been a police checkpoint. Thank goodness, that it's there when this has happened. And my car door was up against a fence, so I couldn't get out. But I wound the window down and got out through the window and ran, because I was really, really worried, about the people in the car that was still spinning round on its roof when I got there. And when I ran up, there was like an old woman, in the passenger side, and a young guy, who was like, back, and I dragged the two of them out, and then the police came along and they helped to drag them out too. And then all of a sudden, the car went on fire, and and then the cops turned around and said to me, run over to the other car, go over to the other car and make sure that that they're okay, and I says, I am the okay. I was in the other car. and Margaret, she's standing shaking, by the side of the car, and oh my God, sort of thinking, what the hell? So the cops give us a lift to the Ballycastle,